Welcome to Lance Riggen's Money Mindset, the show where wealth is built with strategy, freedom is created with intention, and legacy starts with the decisions you make today. Hosted by Lance Riggen, this podcast dives into real conversations about investing, entrepreneurship, real estate, mindset, and building a life on your terms. If you're ready to think bigger, move smarter, and take control of your financial future, then you're in the right place. This is Lance Riggen's Money Mindset. Let's get into it. Welcome to the RV Park Blueprint, right? Was that kind of a fun, catchy name? I thought it was pretty dope. I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep that. Yes, I did have a little help with AI, of course. I think everybody who's doing anything is using AI a lot. And I have the ideas, and you just kind of feed it into the AI system, and it gives you close to what you desire, right? You have to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it until you get it just right. Oh, Celinda's a bird dog for us. We almost closed the park with Celinda, actually, in Missouri. Couldn't quite get to the terms that we needed. But guys, here's the RV park blueprint. My wife and I have experience in a hybrid for 2.5 years now. I wouldn't say we're quite experts, but we've got a lot of real estate experience to offer, and a lot of failing, and a lot of trial by fire under our belt. So we did successfully acquire a park, seller finance. I don't know, 2.5 years ago. We'll go into that later. We actually have a real case study that we'll show you at the end of this slide about that park. We have been underwriting hundreds of parks in the last few months, and we are under contract on a $3 million park in Tennessee right now. That is really cool. It's 77 pads, 38 acres, an hour outside of the Smoky Mountains, right? How sweet is that? It's got a fishing pond. The park is literally, the infrastructure, 4 years old. So it's got outbuildings, it's got a clubhouse. I mean, super stoked about it, and really, really excited to get moving on that. We'll talk a little bit about that. So today we're going to kind of talk to you a little bit about how to acquire, fix, and cash flow underperforming RV parks. This will be a practical blueprint for beginners to immediate investors. Okay, so all right, here we go. Let me move this a little bit out of the way. So why underperforming parks? The main reason we like underperforming parks, the opportunity here for underperforming parks is to increase value, increase the NOI, increase profits, stabilize the park, and do a cash out refi, right? So we love the underperforming parks because of that reason. And this is going to go a little bit more into it. A fragmented market, right? 80% are mom and pop owned, with no systems, no management, rents set years ago. And the gap is our opportunity, right? To strike, right? The gap is where we find the opportunity. So what do I mean by that? Mom and pop, they're running it by themselves, right? They don't have management. Maybe they have a maintenance guy, but most of them, 80%, are living on site or managing it on their own. They don't have any help. They're running their insurance, they're running their car payment, they're running, all these different house payments and everything through their RV park. And so they really don't have good numbers. It's really, you have to really sift through a lot of that to get to the actual numbers. And so that's kind of what we mean by that. Creative finance friendly. Retiring owners want income. They don't want a huge tax burden, right? So RV parks are one of the best asset classes for creative finance acquisitions, right? So what does that mean? If I were to give you cash, Mr. Seller, for your park today, you're asking $1.5 million, for example, you're going to have to pay a fat, hefty tax bill for that 1.5 million in cash, that check that I write you. What is it? Probably
Well, it depends on the income bracket and age
yeah,
and marital status, but I mean, taxes suck. It
it's going to
doesn't
be a
matter
lot.
if it's high or low.
It's going to be close to 40, probably plus percent, I'd say 30, 40%.
It could be.
Talk to a tax strategist, though. We're not tax people. So if you're curious, but the tax burden is huge. So stretching out payments, it lowers the tax liability. You're paying out small payments rather than
Mhm.
one big huge chunk, right? And I like to call it. I was just talking to Santino today about structuring a deal. We call that mailbox money.
Mhm.
Okay, mailbox money. Who likes mailbox money? Yeah, I like mailbox money. Okay. So the demand surge, RV ownership hit record highs. Long-term workforce and destination pad demand is outpacing supply in most markets. That when I see that, I see huge opportunity for us. Pace has been talking about it for the last year and a half, 2 years. All of a sudden, everybody wants to get on the bandwagon, and that's why. Okay, there's a huge opportunity, especially in the Sun Belt states in the southern United States, for two reasons. One, workforce housing. Okay, there's a lot of large operations going on here. There's a lot of plants being built, pipelines being
Mhm.
built for years and years to come, 4 or 5 years worth of work in the southern United States. So that's one reason. The other reason is it's year round. Okay. If you're up in the north, like, the Bissons, right? They like to do parks where it's like destination and they like the luxury parks. A lot of them are up north, so they're closed 3 or 4 months out of the year due to weather. So their numbers have to make a lot of sense for those 6, 7 months, or I'm sorry, 7, 8 months that they're open, right? So I like the parks that aren't as pretty. Okay, so massive operational upside. Most parks lose $30 to $100 a pad per month in unrealized rents. Okay, fixed management and raise rents. That's the play. Force equity, no renovation needed, right? We don't have to fix any leaky faucets or toilets here. We own land, okay? And we don't own the mobiles, the trailers, okay? People will bring their own little homes. There is another play for tiny homes that we'll get into later,
Mhm.
but this is really good here. Let's see, management and raise rent. So anyway, I'm gonna move on because I don't want to. Did you want to speak on that at all, hon? Actually,
No, not
I
yet.
had a brain fart. Sorry. You'll get that with me. Before you look at a single deal, define your buy box first. Okay. I can't really see the chat, but who here has a buy? If you're buying RV parks, who here knows exactly what they're looking for in an RV park? Give me a one in the chat if you know. Dr. Tammy, I knew you were going to raise your hand.
That's a yes.
Yes, good. There's several people who know exactly what they're looking for. I love it.
Dialed in.
Dialed in. Perfect, Alicia. Thank you. Andrea Metz, love it.
Devin, you're almost there,
It's
Devin.
0.75%. I love that. That's great. So yeah, guys. So what I mean by that, right? We want to define your buy box first. You want to know where your target market is, what the deal structure is going to look like, your criteria and preferred features that you are like bonuses, right?
Mhm.
Preferred features means things that you would like to see but are not necessary, so target markets, what state? Workforce demand, tourism? Do you want a luxury parks? What kind of a target are you shooting for? Like Pace has been saying, and you can see the co-living blowing up too, right? We're
Mhm.
talking RV parks and co-living mobile home parks. Those are the three best asset classes, I think, to solve the affordability crisis, right? And that's why Pace is pushing it because he wants us to buy up all these properties because he knows what the future holds, right? It's just going to get harder and harder and harder to afford a decent place to live.
Mhm.
And with some of these asset classes, we can not only help those people, do that, but we can make really good money and build a legacy for our families in the process. How cool
Mhm.
is that? How cool is it that we can help other people and make a bunch of money and have a future for our family, our kids and their kids, right? I think that's amazing.
Oh,
I love
nice.
asset classes like that.
He
Yes.
dropped his buy box even.
Okay.
Everybody,
Yeah.
if you want to take a peek at
There
that
you
real
go.
quick, this is a really sharp way. This is
Hmm.
a really sharp way for you to just
Yes.
put together a really simple
Hmm.
buy box
Yeah,
to drop in chats to put on Facebook Marketplace. So take a
absolutely.
peek at that.
Hmm.
It's a really good looking
Yeah, Omar,
buy
thanks,
box.
brother. Yeah, you guys, we want you to be networking too in the chats. And if you guys have any deals that you'd like us to help out with or that you'd like us to look at, please feel free to shoot them our way. I'll drop the our email here in the link in the chat. Let's see. So, do you understand what the market's drivers, right? Do you know if there's a big opportunity for workforce housing in the area? Do you know if there is if you're close to um, 100,000 population or not, right? We want to be close to those areas, close enough to be able to within an hour of a decent sized town, so so that your potential tenants can drive in and out to work. You don't want to be in an area that's hard to access or that's way off the beaten path. Those are pretty much red flags for us. We want to be to or from a major metro area. So deal structure, cash, seller finance, or creative. Stack method, right? Or as we like to call the Morby method. I prefer Morby method over stack method because I love pace, right? And I love the Morby method. It just sounds good rolling off the tongue, right? Um, know your strategy before you make an offer, okay? In other words, right, you don't want to just go randomly and find any deal out there. For me, a big part of it is how many pads, like a pad count, location, demographics, the target tenant that I'm looking for, right? So let's see your criteria: minimum pad count and price range. Oh, I just kind of went over that, but we have our minimum pad count is 40, but I say 50 because I'm going to get a bunch of 20s and 30s if I say 40. Okay, so I'm going to say 50 plus pads, and guess what? Now I don't get really rarely less than 40 pads sent to me. So I like to just kind of go, hey, I'm looking for 50 plus pads. And you might ask why? Why, Lance? Why would you want 50 plus pads? The reason is I want to be able to afford in my debt service an on-site manager. Okay. Parks that have 40 pads or less are going to struggle to have an on-site full-time manager. And I want to have a full-time manager in my parks. So population and growth rate. That's big, okay? Not an RV park, but my very first sub two deal, Lake Charles, Louisiana. Okay, if you're familiar with Lake Charles, Louisiana, it was hit really hard by a hurricane about 5 years ago. And it's similar to New Orleans, right? There's a lot of houses that still need work. What I didn't realize in my hastiness to get my first deal done 3 years ago was was that first deal in sub two, but was that the population was in a bit of a decline in that area. That's a big red flag, big no no, right? Do not buy in a declining area, okay? I can tell you we bled on that property for a long time until we finally figured it out, but it was painful.
And just so everybody knows, you can do just a quick Google search on the
Yes.
population growth.
Yep.
Just ask Google, and
Yeah.
zero point 0.7 is pretty much a common number
Right.
that the economics and the population are growing in a healthy manner. So,
Yeah. Anything point 0.7 and above, like I like one, if you see 1, 2, 3%, 4%, you're golden, right? That's what you would really want to see. Like here in Tyler, Texas, we're experiencing a 3 to 4% growth rate year after year.
mhm.
So preferred features, rubs in place or available to add. Honey, do you want to speak on the rubs?
Yeah, so Rubs is utility bill back, whether water, electric, really anything like that. You can submeter if you have the chance. That's the best for Rubs. I know that there are, I won't get too into the weeds. There are these little boxes you can put on meters that monitor individually. I think it's $300 to $500 per tower, column, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
And that's an option too if your park can afford it. One of the things, and we'll go into it, one of the things that we did in our park, because our RV space was not individually metered, but the mobile home was, because we have a hybrid park. We added $75 per pad to help with septic pumping. The former owner
Mhm.
didn't pump unless it was overflowing into the tenant's home, which is
Gross.
horrifying.
Yeah. Mm.
And we didn't know that. We even had septic inspections, and he only pointed out 4 out of like the 18 septics. Learning curve there. So we
Yeah.
add $75 per month to each tenant, to cover the cost of a pump, because,
Yeah.
18 pumps at $500 per tank, 2 years, every 2 years.
Ouch.
Yep.
Okay. That can rack up quick. And we ended up spending, I think, the first 2 or 3 months, like about $30,000 in infrastructure repairs for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff because Yeah.
failing drain fields, pumping septic.
Huge mistake, right? So have
Yeah.
an inspector come out, have a septarian come out. If you have septic, I would have a good someone come out with you and walk the park 100%. We'll never do that again. Um, okay, guys. So your buy box is your filter. If a deal doesn't fit, it doesn't matter how good it looks. Does that make sense? Are we following here? Don't go outside your buy box. Stay very focused. Let me just kind of touch on that real quick. If you look at my portfolio, our portfolio, it's a mixed use of all kinds of different stuff because we've tried this, we've tried that. Uh, we've thought we could add this and add that. We've got duplexes, we've got a sober living business, we've got co-livings, we've got some wraparound mortgages. So yeah,
Seven
because
had shiny object syndrome and they did not have red hair. I'm just going to say that. They did not have red hair.
I don't know who that was, but yes. So yeah, anyways, we decided last October that we were only focusing on RV parks, and I've said no to a lot of deals since then. So you got to say no more than you're going to say yes. If you really want to focus, dial in on RV parks, say no to everything else. I'm going to tell you right now because it is going to be really hard to get traction. So the triage filter. Are you guys okay? We might run a little over an hour here. I'm gonna stay as long as you guys want to stay. So if you guys want to stay a little longer, we're gonna hang out here with you guys and answer some questions and really get into. And if you have questions along the way too, raise your hand. Let us know, and we can hop on and answer some questions before we
Mhm.
go too far. The 3 layers before you touch a calculator. That's good. The triage filter. Fancy. Layer one, the market, population, 100,000 within 10 miles, right? So I want to be 10 miles is a little off, but I'd say within an hour or less with 100,000, there's got to be, we want a town with that about 100,000 population within an hour drive from where the park is, right? We want to see, oh, Brian, workforce or tourism demand driver, right? So, depending on what kind of asset class you're looking for, workforce housing must be nearby because these guys get, is it called not stipends? They get per
It's like a
diem. They
per
get per
diem.
diem
Yeah.
wages to live, right, within a certain range from these large pipeline and crypto mining factories and
Mhm.
this and that. So, those are what we're targeting. Tourism is great if if it's a destination park, awesome. Make sure, you're going to want to see how many tourists visit the area on an annual basis and what are your peak markets so you can really cater to that. Growing or stable, not declining, right? We touched on that. Not dependent on one employer. So yeah, if there is a large employer in town, you want to make sure there's other possible avenues, maybe low income housing, Section 8. Okay. You can get qualified for Section 8 if you have tiny homes, right? If you bring tiny homes on your RV park, those do qualify. Some of them, not all, qualify for Section 8 housing. I think they have to be a fixed asset. I don't know if that's for sure for Section 8, but I know if you're going to refinance out, you're going to get a bigger return on tiny homes and container homes that are actually mounted right to the property. So those are things you're going to want to think about. Layer two, asset, city, water, sewer. Okay, preferred. This is a big one, guys. I'm going to touch on this for a little bit. If you are getting a park that has septic tanks or a lagoon tank, or I'm just learning about a cesspool tanks in Hawaii, like there's some areas they actually call it a cesspool. I was like, that doesn't sound like anything I want to keep on my property, right? Let's get rid of the cesspool. Like I was shocked when Santino would tell me about cesspool. I was like, "Are you sure? Is that a nickname for it? I never heard of cesspool." But there are aerobic, aerobic systems. There are what else? There's several other ones, but anyways, make sure that if it's make sure and find out if it's city water and sewer or not. You're gonna want if it's septic, you're gonna want to have someone check the pumps and check the septic systems to make sure they're running good. It's worth the money to spend on that. Okay, individually metered utilities, right? We like the build back, so we don't really want to come into a park if it's already individually metered. If it is, we'll definitely look at it, but that's going to take money off the table potentially for us adding that, as a build back. Paved or compact roads, right? Compacted roads. You don't want to, in my opinion, if you have a park and it's dirt roads, you're going to want to make sure you have enough money in your budget to at least put gravel down and pack that gravel down, at least, you know. The parks we're doing, we don't need asphalt or concrete. You're going to spend $100,000 on that if you really want to do that. I mean, it would make sense for a luxury park, obviously, or higher end park, larger parks.
And let me touch on this. You
Yeah,
might not think about this. I honestly hadn't with the park that we were looking at in Missouri, but the road would wash out every year when it snowed
yep.
and rained heavily. And the owner was spending like 16 grand a year to, bring in the equipment to fix it, dump gravel again.
Yeah, wild. Yeah.
And that's something you can't pull. I don't know if any of you have ever pulled a fifth wheel or a real heavy travel trailer.
Hmm.
If you never have, you probably wouldn't think of it. But if you're pulling, an 8,500 pound, recreational vehicle behind
Yeah.
you, it's not going through any of that. So those are things you definitely want to think about with landscape and, weather and just planning.
Yeah, well, it'll go through it, but it'll destroy the road, right? If it's wet, saturated, if it's muddy, it's going to be some big, huge dips and ruts in there, and it's not going to be very sightly. They had actually calculated they wanted us to put $75,000 aside to complete the pavement of these roads, right? And I was like, 75,000, it's not going to cost anywhere near that. So anyway, we won't get into that deal yet because it didn't quite pencil, but we might actually, if you guys are interested in any parks in Missouri, we actually had that park really close. It was a lot of new infrastructure, what, 63 pads, I think, new bathhouse, right? Beautiful park. They didn't have really anyone in it. I think they just got some management recently, but if you want to talk about that park, I could probably get it under contract for you if
Chris.
the numbers work
Okay.
for you.
Okay, Chris, I
Yeah.
screenshot your number.
Missouri, yeah, beautiful park.
Yeah.
I mean, we were close, but we just couldn't quite get there with what we were looking for. It didn't quite fit.
It's only a 16K loss until you pave the road. But yes, yeah, it was if he had done it one time for 25 grand, he wouldn't have had the expense 2 years in a row. But
Yeah. So paved or compacted roads, right? We want to make sure we have tight packed gravel at least, right? At the very least. Free, simple, no leasehold. I don't know what that means, honey.
sometimes parks will have a lease holdover.
Ah,
Pace recently looked at one and it was like a 99-year renewable
okay.
lease.
Oh,
I've seen that with houses
oh, the
before.
land.
Yeah, I would never buy anything like that. Most people
Okay.
wouldn't either.
Yeah.
It's an oddity you'll probably never
Yeah.
come across, but you'll never own the land. I
It's
mean, it
really
doesn't
odd
make
though.
sense.
Yeah, I have seen some. We were talking to one of our partners in Hawaii, Santino, right here, right? And he was looking at some deals that were on leased land. I was like, what? Nah. Yeah. Why would you put all kinds of money into leased land? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
So
Lance,
anyways,
I
yeah,
have a friend
yes.
in here in Northeast Tennessee. He
Mm-hmm.
owns it's called Pioneer Landing Campground. It's right on Watauga Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a 99-year lease for like a
Yep.
dollar with the Cherokee National Forest.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
And
it.
so and there, there's no septic system, like you can't put that in even if you wanted to. Like there's all these restrictions
Wow.
on it that he has. But yeah, he's got a 99-year lease with the Cherokee National Forest.
That's
So
wild.
Yeah,
Yes.
crazy.
That's what I've heard. And it just always makes me nervous. What if they decide that they want to do something with that land and terminate the contract? Like, I've always just been a little leery about that. And now it's probably unlikely. And I'm sure they'd probably have to pay you a bunch of money if they did that. But something that makes me nervous. So for me personally, nah, it's a deal breaker.
Lauren, you kill them with fire. There's nothing you can do about fire ants in Texas except wear boots and
Fire ants.
kill
Oh,
them with
God.
fire.
Fire ants are the devil. I hate those little bastards. Anyone in the South know about fire ants? Oh my God, they are brutal,
Anyone in the
brutal.
South learn a hard lesson after being a barefoot Oregon girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my little hippie wife. No, but yeah, our poor
Diesel.
grandson got attacked by fire ants when we first moved here. Poor baby. I felt so bad. He was screaming, and we were like, "What's wrong?" He was standing in this giant mound of them, and they were just crawling up his leg and just attacking him. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Felt so bad. Let's see. So numbers, right? Layer three, rents below market, upside, of course, easy upside, right? And you don't want to. you're not going to go jack up the rents to current market rates in one year, right? You don't want to do that. You want to slowly increase those rates. Make sure your property management on-site manager is building rapport, right, with the tenants that are in the park. You definitely want someone who's personable, right? There's a fine line with property management too, and I won't get into that too much, but that's something you want to be very careful with property management. They gotta be firm but cool, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to put your foot down when you have to put your foot down, but at the same time, you've got to be personable. So vacancy above 20%. Well, yeah, that is that an opportunity, hun? I would say 20% is a tough one. That's going to be
Well,
a
it's
lot of
yeah.
work. I would say 40, 50% plus.
Well, 80%, 70, I think for RV parks, 80% for manufactured homes, so somewhere in the
Oh,
middle for
vacancy. I'm
everything.
sorry. I read
Yeah,
that wrong. I was thinking occupancy. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, guys,
yeah,
don't worry about me. I'll be okay. Yeah, so vacancy above 20% equals opportunity. So our park right now, we're in a contract. They have a 65% occupancy rate, and that's a really good occupancy rate, right? That's really good. Most parks struggle to maintain that, but there's room for improvement.
yeah.
There's room to build out tree houses, tiny homes. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
So,
Let me answer Lauren's question real quick. Lauren,
okay,
did
Lauren.
you ever grandfather any long-termers in? Like if someone had been there 10 years, honor a past rate or do all rates raised together? Personally, for us, and everybody has their own
Yeah.
method that they want to use. We wanted to be fair and raise it on everybody. Um,
Yeah, that
they
doesn't
they
work.
got under market rate for a long time, but
Mhm.
everything's going up. Property taxes, the cost of
Yeah.
pumping, the wear and tear on the park, and I know that
Yeah.
their wages were going up too, and yes, their expenses were going up, but it's just a natural part of the cycle.
Yeah.
So we did raise rents for everybody. We did do it slowly. Some of our pads were close to 150 under market, and so we did 25 on some for rent, but we had added the 75 for the septic pumping. So we tried not to hit them too hard because that's naturally
Yeah, of
going to
course.
happen that you lose tenants when you
Yeah.
raise rents.
Hmm.
And that's something that you just need to be careful when you go into it. Another reason why you don't want to jack them up that quickly.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, you're going to lose some,
Hmm.
but you're going to get better tenants in.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to, right? At the end of the day, we have to cover our expenses and we have to get paid.
Yeah.
If you're especially if you're full-time like us, we've got to, feed our families as well,
Yeah.
and so
And we did come in and we explained to the tenants we've done a lot of repairs, not just the septics that were failing from not being cared for, but making sure that the trash cans were dumped more regularly. We've brought
Mhm.
20-yard dumpsters for free so that the tenants could
Yes.
throw all the garbage that was collecting on their
Yeah.
porches away.
Yeah.
Picking up the furniture regularly, making sure that water lines get fixed regularly. So we explained to them that although their rents were going up, that we were trying to make the park better for them,
Mhm.
which
Right.
ultimately is for us as well. And
Yeah.
most of them understood, if you're just jacking up the
Oh
rent and
yeah.
you're not doing anything, you're probably going to hear some griping. If you talk to the tenants and find out what some of the biggest concerns are, and you can address those if they
Yeah.
make sense,
Oh
then
yeah.
it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that seller was a slumlord. Yeah, he didn't do much. Like his pictures did not do the park justice, and I don't say that it's not in a good way. Okay, when we drove out to that park for the first time, I looked at my wife. I was like, "There's absolutely no way in hell we're buying this park."
Great question. Lauren asked another good question. Objective question. Any losses purely on ownership change? Some people get attached to the prior owner. The last owner of our park was just awful.
Great
They were
question.
glad to have him gone. I
Mm-hmm.
do foresee with this Tennessee park that we're buying that
Mm-hmm.
could be an issue because the owners there are on site and they are super friendly, super community oriented. Not that we won't be, but naturally, I think with owners who are really caring and loving, I do think there's an opportunity for us to naturally incur some losses switching over to us, which is not going to be a corporate feel, but it's definitely not going to have that owner touch, which we will do our best to keep. Lance and I have owned a business prior for 20 years, so we did understand what that felt like, knowing everybody in our community. People would walk into our shop and get
Mm-hmm.
countertops. But on the last park, no, everyone was kind of like, sayonara, Kevin, get out of here.
Yeah. See ya,
Great question,
sucker.
though, Lauren.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So, NOI suppressed by bad expenses. So what that means is you're going to want to fill the holes, fill a leaky
Mhm.
bucket, right? Most property owners who own asset classes like this, small multifamily, mobile home parks, and RV parks, they're really not going to know what their expenses are. They're just going to add to the park and pay whatever the expenses are for whatever it is, right? Utilities, trash, maintenance, all those different things. So what we want to do when we bring a good operator on board is to take a look at the expenses and find out where we can save money on expenses, right? We want to be able to tighten up the belt as much as we can on expenses and not waste money because expenses can be money in your pocket, right? If there's money going out that doesn't need to be, one of the big ones is cash. We're not going to take cash. A lot of cash grows feet and walks away. Okay, in parks like this, any asset class, I've heard so many stories about cash missing, unaccounted for. Right, was just talking earlier today about just this park we're going to go drive and look at tomorrow near us here, about an hour and a half away. The maintenance guy is keeping an eye on things. There's no management in place full time. So the maintenance guy is keeping an eye on the park. Well, there's been zero income from the washers and dryers. Apparently nobody ever uses them. Well, the broker I'm talking to, super cool lady, open to working with investors. She's like, she went by there a few times and the washers and dryers were running. Funny enough. So isn't that odd? I wonder where that money's been going if nobody's using it, but she saw them running when she was there the one time she went. That's really suspect. So this guy's pocketing all that money. He's probably making hundreds and hundreds, I would say, if not a few thousand. But anyways, moving on. It's got to pass your buy box criteria. Don't flex. Don't force a deal. You can't make a deal work. Okay, the numbers are so important. Underwrite, vet. I mean, not vet. I'm sorry. When you're in due diligence, you got to underwrite some more. Pass it on to someone else to look at your underwriting. Seriously,
And you
you
know,
can't dig into those numbers deep enough.
and you know what they say, forcing a deal is like forcing a fart. It's probably,
Not a good idea. No. Wow.
hey, I didn't
Okay,
say
honey.
it.
Is that what you did though?
I didn't
Okay.
have to. Okay,
Yeah.
next. Oh, this is the next
That
slide.
was funny. The acquisition, nice one. Um, let's see, three. I feel like that was a dad joke. Three strategies. Know yours before you offer. Okay. Cash, seller finance, or creative stack method, or this third one can be seller. You could be a sub two seller finance deal as well. So there's different ways. These are the main strategies that we're looking at. Absolutely, be open to taking over payments on a mortgage on a RV park, and yes, you can do that on RV parks. Funny enough, I was talking to Pace about it recently. Well, a few weeks ago, somebody had said, "Oh, you can't." Sub two an RV park. Yeah, one of our local guys,
Mhm.
Clint, our buddy Clint Carter
Oh,
out
okay.
here. He said that, and I go, no, I don't think that's accurate. He goes, well, yeah, the underwriter Bo was the underwriter for sub two for a long time, and
Mhm.
I reached out to Pace and I go, hey Pace, can I sub two an RV park? I'm thinking, why wouldn't you be able to? You can sub two anything. He goes, I said, because Bo had said no that you can't do it. And he goes, oh, well, we let Bo go a while ago because he wasn't creative enough. And I go, oh, yes. You go, absolutely. Yes, you can. I go, shit, I knew it. Right. Pardon my mouth, but pardon my French, guys. But yeah, I knew it. Right. I'm like, I knew it. So I told Clint, yeah, you can. I got it from straight from Pace's mouth. Right. Okay. So a cash deal, best for dilapidated, sorry, parks and big words. I'm not good with big words. Parks and motivated sellers. Speed is your leverage. Speed. I am speed, right? Waive contingencies and close fast. Okay, guys. Negotiate harder on price in exchange for certainty. 50, you can go as low as 50, 60 cents on the dollar in some cases, especially if the occupancy is really low. It opens the door to wholesale and double close. So absolutely, like we have a few parks that I just mentioned, right? The one park was we had negotiated pretty good on a cash deal in
Mhm.
Missouri. There's another one about an hour outside of Dallas that we
Mhm.
looked at recently that's struggling really bad. That's open to a cash deal. and open to even creative, but still, you're going to get a way better deals, but you're going to have to put a lot more work into it. Okay. You're going to have to infuse cash into it, marketing and management, heavy on
Yeah.
the front end. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and real quick, keep in mind some of these parks that are, in poor shape, whether it's, financials, the park itself, occupancy, they won't qualify for bank financing.
A hundred
And I
percent.
don't know if the owners,
Mhm.
some of these owners who this is the only park they've ever had, they're not thinking about that. There are banks that
Right.
wouldn't touch them with, somebody else's lending
10-foot
paperwork.
pole.
So keep that in mind in your negotiations. You're probably not going to find, $7 million parks for cash sales.
Right.
My train of thought, which is my train of thought, it's usually for, 1.5 and below. If you just look at the availability of like heavy cash buyers that are around me, it's going to be below 1.5 and most likely under a million, where you can start negotiating.
Right. Making sense. All right. So seller finance, right? Who does not like seller finance? Who here does not like it? Raise your hand. If you raise your hand, you shouldn't be in the Zoom. Seller finance is my favorite strategy by far because we get to deal directly with the sellers. That's my favorite, right? I will go direct to agent, broker. Doesn't bother me, but I prefer direct to the seller if I can, anytime, every day of the week. Why? For us, because we've been business owners, we know what it's like to have to sell something you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into. Okay. So for us, it makes a lot of sense. It might not for you, might be easier to talk to an agent. I don't know, right? You have to figure out what's your best strategy, direct to seller, direct to agent. Most of these have a broker or an agent, and they put the value of their park based on the performa, right? Most of you here who have been looking at parks know that you cannot pay based on a performa. Okay. You have to do the work and infuse the cash and build up the management team and do all the marketing to increase the revenue to get to that performa. It is not worth that right now. It's worth this. So you can't make an offer based on a performa. That's a huge no-no.
Yeah, pay tomorrow's price
I
today.
mean, come on. That's what,
What a deal.
yeah. Any of you who've been looking at parks, you know exactly what we're talking about or know real estate really well. Um, so seller finance, best for retiring owners who want income, not a tax event, right? They don't want to come out of pocket and pay 30, 40% to the IRS. I don't know anybody that wants to do that personally. Installment sales spreads seller's tax liability, right? So what did we talk about earlier, guys? Mailbox money. Who wants mailbox money? Who likes mailbox money? I like mailbox money. Okay. True mailbox money, right? You get a down payment and we're going to structure payments over time, right? I don't ever offer less than a 10-year balloon. If I'm going to do a balloon payment, it gets uncomfortable and it's awkward when you're negotiating. It's not easy, right? You're going to get sweaty. But you've got to don't I don't ever offer a balloon. First of all, don't ever offer a balloon payment. Don't do that. You can do a 30-year AM schedule. That's what we'd like to do. The only time we offer a balloon is if the seller or the agent comes back and says, "Oh, they're not gonna do a 30-year AM," and I'm gonna make them tell me what they're willing to do. Right? I want them to tell me. I'm not gonna negotiate on my own terms. If they just come back and say they're not willing to do that, I'm not going to say, well, will they do this? Well, will they do that? That's a good way to shoot yourself in the foot and get a really crappy deal. You want to make them, right? You want to control the conversation, not make them, but you want to control the conversation. So you got to get it out of them. You want them to respond to you. Does that make sense? So, if you guys ever need help negotiating closing, we're happy to JV with you and just help you if you want help. But love to JV, squat up on different assets and wedge ourselves into the deal a little bit. Yeah, of course we're gonna want some equity. No, but that's what PACE teaches us, right? Even if it's just a sliver, okay? But I just like to give people really proper expectations, like I just did now. Because if you go and you're like, "Yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you close," and then you get midway through the deal or you get towards the end, you go, "So, I was thinking, hey, I'd like to get 15, 20 grand, or hey, I'd like, 5 or 10% equity." They're going to look at you and go, "What? You said you would help me." I go, "Yeah, I am going to help you, but my time is valuable, right? My knowledge is valuable." So I always like to get that right out of the gate, right out front. So it's really important. That was a little side note. Let's see. So spread and liability terms vary. Down payment, rate, balloon are negotiable. All of it's negotiable. Okay. One of the favorite deals Pace I've heard Pace talk about over the years is a JV agreement he did. He wrote up that he had that the seller, I don't even remember the asset. I think it's a single family home. The seller had to take Pace to lunch every time he went into town. That was literally on the JV agreement. Has anyone heard that story? That's so funny. I love that story. I mention that story all the time because you can write up whatever you want in a JV agreement. So, excuse me. It creates stable monthly income for the seller that's motivated, right? So it's all negotiable, guys. We're just negotiating a contract here. Nothing is set in stone. The thing with seller finance, you really have to explain to them why it works for you. The payments work for you. You have to show them that you're not trying to gouge them. You're not going to get rich off the one deal, right? This is what works with my debt service, with the marketing, with the management costs, and all the different things that we want to do to the park. This is why, right? Explain to them why you need these payments, why you need this lower down payment. It's really important that you don't just walk away. I see so many people who don't know how to negotiate in our paid communities, especially still, who just don't know how to negotiate and close deals, right? And I get it, right? It's not easy. It's very uncomfortable. It can be. Um, but you don't just walk away. Like when someone goes, "Oh, well, that offer doesn't work for me." You know how many people walk away? It blows my mind. People just walk away and they don't even try and negotiate at all with you. And that's not how you get deals done. So I just want to emphasize that. Always be open to negotiate. Number three, creative and stack. Ooh, this is what we're doing right now, okay? We're doing the Morby method right now on our Tennessee park. Cool, right? You know what that means? Who here does not know what a Morby method or a stack method is? Give me one in the chat if you do not know what that is. If you do not know what it is, one in the chat.
A couple of people, a few people.
Okay, most of you guys know. Okay, one. So most likely not in the our paid community. Okay, Kathleen. All right. Yes, I'll explain it again. I'm going to give you the napkin underwriting explanation because that's how I
Because this
digest.
is not a
It's
Morby
a
method
complex.
training.
No, it's not. It's a complex creative method of doing deals. So the Morby method, basically, or stack method, as some people call it. It says it right here, right? Bank financing combined with seller carryback in second position. Okay, that's the hard part, getting the seller to subordinate into second position. There is another way around that. A lot of banks will not put a seller in second position. They don't want a second position. So there is a workaround. And now for one, you can find a lender, a DSCR lender or a small bank who are okay with second position. That's one way. The second way to structure that is a pref equity position, preferred equity position, where they're in the deal with you, right? They're on the operating agreement with you, basically, as a partner. Okay. That's one way to get around that. And that's what we typically end up offering. We've offered a lot of different properties and several different ones, and this is our first one that we're getting close to close. So anyways, if that makes sense, right? So we're basically doing that, and then we're getting the bank to fund. We're offering the seller. I'm sorry, I don't explain this very well, but we're offering the seller up to 50% down payment. So if you were to ask Mr. Pace Morby, my mentor and friend, why would you do that? Why would someone do that? He would tell you, well, people who don't know how to negotiate really well do Morby methods, right? Because you're offering them a large down payment. So if you can't get a really good deal, low down payment, and take over the mortgage, yeah, the Morby method is a great additional opportunity. It's more sophisticated and requires understanding. You've got to have a TC. You've got to have, I would say, an attorney, a really, really good title company who knows the structure. Okay. Don't go and try and explain to your title company how this works. That's not a good idea. The deal will 99% sure fall apart. Okay. Work with somebody who knows their stuff too. Attorney, title company, TC. You've got to work with someone who knows what they're doing. So it's powerful when it's structured correctly, right? Study it before you try it. I would get in and partner with somebody who knows it really well if you don't know how to do it. It's not something I would do on a large asset class for the first time, not understanding it. Get into some trainings. If you're in the sub two community, get into some trainings or plug into one of us who are experienced investors, right? Who can walk you through it, who have the right contacts to get you through the deal. And we can do that for you.
Real quick, I'm just going
Yes.
to add, mortgage methods are becoming more popular.
Mhm.
They can be lucrative because the buyer gets cash at close. Just a, word to the wise, don't over leverage the park. People have been doing this in
Yeah.
different aspects for the last couple years, and you need to be able to underwrite it so that it cash flows and it's not free money. You're getting a loan on this property, and if you're not careful, you're putting the seller's equity at risk.
Right.
So, just be careful with that. Like Lance said, get an attorney, get a TC, make sure that you're incredibly transparent with the seller.
Yes.
Most mortgage
Really
methods
important.
fail because somebody's not explaining to the seller that they have to subordinate to the incoming senior loan. They're not explaining, the terms of the pref equity and seller carryback correctly. So
Yes.
it's a very good acquisition strategy. You can have money in the bank for a
Yeah.
war chest,
Yep.
for rehab, to build out. We have 38 acres on this. We want to build
Yeah.
2 more tree houses in the first year. But just go into it, with the mindset of a business owner and not just, wanting to get paid cash at close because you can
Yeah.
get paid cash at close.
Exactly. Well, and if I could piggyback off that, what is the first thing we should be focusing on? What's the most important thing when you're doing business, especially with a seller on seller finance or doing a stack method? Anyone know number one most important thing? Number one, relationships. Okay, always focus on the relationship first. Always. I'll scream it from the rooftops till I'm blue in the face. I constantly tell new people this all the time. Don't focus on the money, focus on the relationships, and the money will come. Okay. If you focus on relationships first, you're going to get a lot of deals done. I can guarantee you that. We're living proof of it. Okay. When I got into the sub two community going on almost 4 years ago, I just focused on adding value to other people, and man, we started flourishing and growing and making a lot of money and building assets in our portfolio. It was amazing. So, anyways, guys, let's see. Let's go on to. We only have 20 more slides here. You guys ready for another hour and a half? No.
Real quick, Travis asked, better off getting a PML, right? Not necessarily. And you'll see in one of the next slides, we'll typically offer 2 separate offers. We offer what works for us in 2 different packages, disguised as what could work for the seller, right? We want to show them, hey, this is a great deal for you, but we've underwritten it 2 different ways. So for us, if it's a really good park and it cash flows really well, on a $3 million park, we're not going to raise 1.5 on a PML if that's what they want. You can, but Lance has raised millions since we've been in sub 2. It's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. So we typically structure, you'll see in the next slide, we do a smaller down payment for a straight up seller finance because they're getting the bulk of their payment, hopefully without interest, but in reality with interest. And, $2.5 million loan on 3% interest, that's a hell of a paycheck every month. And if they want something bigger, then we offer the Morby method. So that hopefully that answers your better off getting a PML question. It's dependent upon each deal.
Yeah, it really is, and I love bringing in private money. If they're okay, with the way we're structuring our deals with RV parks is we want to cash you out in 18 to 24 months, right? 36 months is a stretch, but really 18 to 24 months to refinance out. That gives us enough time to stabilize the asset, to bring in tiny homes, to manage the park, to clean it up, right? That's going to be plenty of time to do that. And we're aggressive. We're going to be pretty aggressive with our parks. And I know we can do it. We've done it. We've done it already. And if we can increase NOI by $500,000 in our little crappy park, then we can do it in some of these really, some of these better assets. But dang it.
He's going to spoil the last slide. I don't want him to do that.
Okay, so yeah, it gets better though. I'll tell you the other parts later. So walk the park like an operator before you close, okay? So Michelle Bassan talks about this all the time, right? You guys been in a Michelle's Zoom. I love Michelle and Patrick, right? Michelle is a wealth of knowledge. She's super sharp. I haven't talked to Patrick a whole lot, but I can tell you one thing she talks about is walking the park, right? If you're going to be buying parks, you need to walk the park. And I 100% agree with that. The one thing I don't agree with is before it gets under contract. For me personally, there's a lot of parks that I'm going to be underwriting. I don't want to be flying all over the country walking like 4 or 5 parks if I'm not getting it under contract. Now, if I know I'm getting it under contract, oh, she's trying to come in again. Sorry, hold on. Then I'm going to go out once it's under contract because you have that due diligence phase,
Mhm.
right? Where you have time to really dig into the numbers, to walk the park. That's when I'm going to go out and visit the park personally. And that's what we do with other asset classes. We go out once we're in that, 30-day due diligence period, right? For the park. That means we have 30 days to do deep underwriting, to dig through all the profits and losses, check the park, look at the infrastructure, make sure everything is what it's supposed to be, what the seller's telling us it is, or the broker's telling us it is. Okay, really, really important because what does Pay say, right? All the time, guys. Buyers are liars and sellers are worse. Okay, so true. All right, utilities here: city water utility, well or septic. Okay, you need to know this stuff. Individually metered, or is there a master meter? Most of these parks will have a master meter. Septic pump history. Ask and verify. Okay. We want a record of that. Most people aren't going to have that. That's why you want a septarian to meet you on the property to check out the septic systems. Okay. Yes, that's the name. It's a septarian. It sounds almost like something out of Jurassic Park. I don't know. Septarian. It sounds, I don't know. When I found
Zodiac
it's,
sign, but it's
there you go. It
it's
sounds,
like
yeah.
designs, septic
That's
system,
right. Septarian.
more than just the septic guys who install it. Like they go in,
Yeah.
they map it out, they
Yeah.
figure out, what can be done. They
Yeah.
should truly on a park, they should be the first one. This isn't
Yeah.
like you putting a septic in to build a single family home.
Yeah.
These are, large parks with a lot of infrastructure. So it's worth getting a specialist.
Right. Check the condition of the electric panels. Make sure the roads are in good, decent order. Find out if there's equipment, right? On site. This one we're buying has some equipment that's leased, and it has a cool razor, right? That we can cruise around in and check the park out.
Aaron wants to be a septarian.
All right, Septarian. Okay. So tenants, rent roll, who pays, who doesn't, right? We want to see the rent rolls. We want the trailing 12 to 24 months. If you're not familiar with that, it means we want to see the last 12 to 24 months worth of payments that were made. That's the rent roll. Okay. So when you hear T12, that's what it means. Month to month versus signed leases, right? We want to know who's on a signed lease, who's on a month to month, how many people are long term, how many are not. How many people have been late. We want to know all those things. And it's most of these mom and pop places are difficult to track that kind of stuff down. You don't know until you're knees deep in it. You go, oh crap, well, they didn't tell us that so and so and so and so is paying late because they don't have the systems and processes in place that we're going to put in place. Um, Long-term workforce and destination clientele each create different stability, right? So you've got all these different asset classes. What do you want to focus on? And like I said again, workforce housing is a big, big play right now. Destination is awesome. Um, Man, you just go and look at some of these huge plants that they're building, and some of this workforce housing that they've already got. A lot of them are building mobile home parks for these, and those are our little note takers leaving us. But a lot of them basically will put like build mobile home parks, small mobile home parks for workforce housing. And man, when it dries up, you got a big asset there that's worth a lot of money that's going to be really hard to sell, So I like the idea of RV parks because you don't have to put permanent structures in. So identify problem tenants. Oh, wait, did I go do that already? Yeah, that was the last part. So identify problem tenants before you close, right? That's something we didn't do very good on our last part. So we want to make sure if there's some people causing problems, we want them out quickly, because problem tenants are poison to the culture of the park that you're trying to build, right? For us, we want to create a culture. We want to create an environment that's inducive, for others to come and visit and want to come and visit. The infrastructure is really important. We touched on this quite a bit already. Deferred maintenance, laundries, bathhouses. Are they functional? Do they need rehab? Curb appeal and first impressions. Really important stuff. Let's move on. The management fix. Okay. Your most important hire. Make it before you close the deal. Okay. Does that make sense? Don't ever just, when you talk to sellers or brokers, like, oh, there's a manager. Yeah, they got management in place. Okay, cool. You're thinking, great. I don't have to worry about it. And wrong. Okay, that is wrong. You want to make sure and vet that manager. You want to talk to that manager, make sure they're taking good care of the park, and ask them what they're doing. What are their responsibilities and roles? How often are they at the park? Are there full time? Right? Definitely kind of grill the manager and make sure they're a good fit for you, and you're going to talk to them personally, so you're going to know, if they have an attitude, or if they're, friendly, or, maybe if they don't seem like a good fit right out the gate, there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, Keith has a good point. He says they're the biggest gossipers.
Right.
Yeah, so that is, I mean, you want to hear the dirt of the park, right? You want to know what's gone on and
As long as it's not about me or the operator, right? That's the poison that we're talking about.
well, yeah, yeah, but
Yeah, the last thing you want is one of your employees, or someone that's working for you or with you, to be yapping to the tenants. That is not slow to hire, quick to fire. Okay, that's how you got to run this thing.
yeah, Matt, no, it says Matt said, is it true married couples are the best managers? I mean, I think that that's situational, right?
I think it makes sense,
There's
but
it does make sense, husband probably fixes stuff, wife takes care of the books, but typically I've seen that more from an ownership standpoint than a manager.
hmm.
And it's case by case. We're dealing with humans, so
Well, yeah, I understand why that would make sense, if especially if the spouse, one of the, spouses has a full-time job that they work remotely, or they both work remotely, and one of them's part-time and has more flexibility, they can focus more on the park while the other one works still. So that would make sense to me. We had a couple actually that we've been talking to potentially about managing this. I'm not sure if that's going to work out or not, but we're talking to a few different people. Okay, so the on-site manager structure, okay. Free lot. We're going to give them free space rent. They're going to be on site, living on site 24/7. Again, this is why we like 40 plus pads, okay? Anything less than that is most likely not going to support, okay, a full-time manager. Monthly cash, $500 to $1,200 a month, depending on the park size and duties.
yeah.
Okay.
And a really heavy management park, I mean, you're going to be paying them a livable wage, right? If they're having to work and do, 8 hours of work a day, yeah, you're going to probably need to pay them, 4 grand a month, give or take. And that's why Lance said, we
Yeah.
need parks that are 50 plus pads and above, because, that's
Mhm.
$48,000. And honestly, 4 grand isn't a lot. Everybody in here knows that that's not a lot. Yeah, free space rent's fine too, but depending on what area, that's 600 to 1,000. That's,
Mhm.
you know,
Well, yeah, if your park is 100, 150, 200 pads, 100% you're going to pay.
yeah, you're paying,
You're going to
yeah,
easily double, triple that number.
you're going to have some employees.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So, anyways, so the cool thing about on-site management, a lot of people work remotely still. So a lot of people can still hold down a job and live on site.
Chris says that he thought Michelle said not free site rent, discount their rent as part of their pay, can get in troubles, but don't remember the specifics.
Hmm,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I think that everybody has a little bit different.
Yeah, to keep the books clean, right? That's definitely something we'll
Yeah, that's a
explore.
valid point for sure.
Yeah, I've heard that before too, with mobile home parks as well. So that's a good possibility. But everybody's going to run their business different too. I don't have to run mine the way Michelle does, or this guy does, or that guy does, but I'm definitely going to listen to how she runs her
Yeah.
park, and probably take it to heart, and take a good hard look at how we're offering,
Yeah.
what we're offering 100%. Yeah, so let's see. Collect rent, show pads, handle calls, report weekly, right? That's the job. Also, evictions if it's long term. That is the park manager's job to slap an eviction notice on the door. That's why I was saying earlier, you want to be friendly, but you don't want to be everybody's best friend, okay? Because you're gonna have to kick some people out, okay? You got to be that bad guy sometimes, right? That's the hard part. That's the part nobody likes to do, being the boss, okay? That's the part that I've always hated to do, but I always had to do it because I've been the boss, for 25 years. So it sucks, but it's better to get people out quickly who are really late or causing problems. Get them out quick. So the owner overseer, right? The owner operator, if you're going to operate, You oversee the operator who manages the manager. So overseer. So that would be the operator, actually. That was a typo, I think, with the AI. An AI potential mess up there. We actually have a potential operator in this room with us tonight. So how cool is that, right? So the standards, right? Written KPI. So let me go back to the role, right? If you want to be an owner operator, you best not have a whole lot of other things going on, okay? Because you're going to be working quite a bit. You're going to be making sure the manager's doing their job. Now, there are operators I've been talking to who got it down. They've done it before. They know how to do it. They're quick. They're good with systems and processes. If you're new to all this, it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be a lot of stress for you. So, highly recommend bringing an operator on board. Um, we did it for a long time, and I was dreading some of those calls, to be honest with you, because it was just tough, and we just weren't experienced. But we wanted to learn hands-on on that first park so we could move on and start building and scaling too. So it does make sense to be an operator on your first park. If you have a good management manager, it's going to make your job a lot easier. We did not. We had two managers that were horrible. So the standard, right? Written KPIs, weekly calls, clear expectations from day one. And we want to let our operators and our managers know exactly what we expect and what they expect of us, right? Very clear and open communication. Any business, that's going to be really important. And it's not easy to do. That's a hard thing to do. I'm going to give my operations and our manager permission. Hey, if you don't hear back from me in a timely manner, text me or call me again, please. I give you permission to bug me, right? I always do that because I get busy and I get caught up doing other things, especially with ADHD. Now, field warning. This is a great, this is awesome right here. Danger, danger, right? I wish I could have that buzzer going off. Okay, bad management is the number one killer of all park turnarounds, okay? Read that and really take it in, okay? Be slow to hire and quick to fire. Okay. Vet before you close. Referrals and background checks. I'm talking to three different potential operators and several different potential managers right now. Now, also the sellers want us to hire management within. So that's also an option that we will take into consideration, but it's definitely not something we have to do. If we're raising all this money for this park and we're going to be, paying them and buying this park, then it's our decision to make it, not theirs. Now, we want to make sure that we're kind of getting in bed with them, right? So we're going to be partners with them for 10 years, I think, until that payment is due, right? 10-year balloon on the seller finance portion. But at the same time, we're going to make sure and set the precedents right up front and in a friendly manner, right? Let them know that, hey, we're taking over. So the wrong manager costs more than their salary every month. Oh man, now I had never hired a manager for my construction company, but I had foremen who were horrible and cost me a lot of money. So same basic concept. Did anyone want to hop on here and ask any questions up to this point? What?
I need the water.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Am I being too loud? I thought you were
No,
saying
no,
that.
you're
Being
being
too
fine.
loud. I was like, what is this? Okay. Anyone have any questions? Unmute yourself and just hop up here if you have a question.
Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing, guys? Daniel Lewis.
Hey, good. What's up, brother?
Listen, when you transition with the owners and they're used to those workforce companies, sign those leases with those, they got contacts with them. How do you transition with them, to make sure that these big companies still continue with you? Do you try to keep that owner or the seller with you for a while? You know what I mean? I think they're used to that.
That's a great question. We actually we have not encountered that yet. We have underwritten a couple of parks over in the Permian Basin in Midland. But yeah, I wish I had an answer for you, Daniel. I do not know, and I won't pretend that I know how to
No.
pull that contract with you. I mean, you're going to be contacting them, right? That's part of the lease that conveys
Yeah.
out sale. So I
Yeah.
would, the same way I would do it with the tenant. I would introduce myself, let them know, build relationship. Like Lance said, relationship is the key to everything, but that's just from a
Mhm.
1,000-foot view. I don't really know what the recipe is other than what I would try and do first, which is
Okay.
what I just said.
Yes.
Yeah, build a relationship. That's main thing.
Yes, but I want to that just goes into another right example of transparency, right? We're not trying to say that we know everything, okay? We've
No.
got experience. We don't have all the experience. We're going to learn a lot more this year. We're planning to triple our net worth this year with RV parks. We're buying 4 parks this year, okay? Average of $1.5 to $3 million. Pretty crazy, right? You should have seen my daughter's face when we told her we're buying a $3 million park. She goes, "So you're going to be $10 million in debt." I was like, yeah, but it's good debt. So, hey, Aaron, what's up, brother? Good to see you here, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, what's your strategy for bringing in management on a park if you're operating it remotely?
That's a great question. The one we did, I'm going to lower your hand. Let me bring you up here. So, a good management, on-site manager. Right now, what we're doing is looking for, sorry, I'm trying to find you so I can bring you up here. I've lost you.
Oh, I'm
Where'd you go?
here.
Crying out loud. Okay, hang on. Sorry.
Just let their hand be raised. They can.
Okay. Anyways, honey, I'll let you speak on that.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? I got lost watching
Sorry,
Lance. He's OCD.
there we go.
Yeah.
Do you need
Gotcha.
me to put my hand up again?
No, it's good. That would have helped. No, I got you.
So what's our strategy for what?
So, like, I'm looking at parks all over the country, and that's the hang up I keep having, probably within my own mindset, is like,
Yeah.
who's going to run this thing? Because I'm not going to
Yeah.
be like Patrick and Michelle
Yeah.
and go integrate
Right.
myself into the park for 6 months. That's just not reality.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so we're trying to do like a dual layer method. So there needs to be an on-site manager at all of our parks, and that's either going to be somebody that's been there already or somebody that we source.
Mhm.
We have had what I feel is success, although we haven't implemented it yet, so grade me on the curve. But we've had a few people in the community who really want to have RV park, mobile home park in their track record and are willing to move to the park and manage it
Yeah.
on site so they can learn it.
Yep.
Oh,
You know, with a
Yep.
possible like, hey, maybe you get, a very small minority piece of equity so that you now have the paper trail to say, hey, I've been a minority owner, but I have owned a park, because that's what we've found just in,
Sure.
the negotiations on this park. Us having had a park has done wonders for us because we have the experienced owners who are like, oh, okay, even agents like, oh, I already have a park. So
Mhm.
that hopefully answers the first part for the manager. The operator, Lance is still interviewing people, but we spoke with somebody who does statewide management, and the operator's managing the manager. The other gal is on here, and then the third manages parks in a few different states. She's had as many as 55 at one time and is doing 30 right now. So I don't think that we need the operator to be in the area because we plan
No.
on buying in a few different states. They just have to have the ability,
Yeah.
and the track record to
Yeah.
manage that.
I actually like.
Answered your question.
yeah. And I think I could actually operate myself remotely as well. But the key is going to be to have the right manager. I mean, I operate
Yes.
rental properties down where you guys are at
Yep.
from Idaho,
Yes.
but it's all because of my manager. They make it
Exactly.
easy. So that was kind of
Yeah.
my hand. It's like, where do I find a manager?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what Michelle. So I talked to Michelle, Bassan at Squad Up for quite a while about operations and management, because that was the one thing I wanted to know more about. Because we struggle bust through it on the first park, it was not a fun experience,
It's
and
not fun at
we
all.
didn't have a good management, man. And we actually had, I think, a $10,000 or $15,000 John Deere tractor stolen from us from the first manager. It just disappeared.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was a fun experience, right?
Yeah,
So
sure, fun.
we Michelle was saying hire, she likes to hire based more on character and people who want to work with her, want to work in her park. And that's what I'm doing, marketing. You see me all over the place. So I'm visible. People are like, hey, Lance, I see what you're doing. I'd like to come, work at or manage a park. I literally had a guy, I think in Washington State, say, man, I'm ready to quit my job. I'm miserable here. I hate it. I'll manage your park just to learn the ins and outs. Just give me a little sliver of the equity and I'll be good. And I'm like, wow, That's crazy. But to me, it makes more sense because if you've been in management or if you've owned businesses
Mhm.
before, you know how hiring based on experience isn't always the best, doesn't always give you the best results. I'd rather train somebody up a little bit in the systems, the processes, the processes and kind of hire based on character and personality, more
Yeah.
than because they're going to bring their bad habits. That's the one thing I don't like about hiring really experienced people. They're going to bring all their bad habits with them,
Yeah.
potentially. And so I'm like, I
Yeah.
like that advice that she gave me. And I heard her say it on one of her trainings too. Hire based on like people who are hungry and want to learn and want to work with you more than
Well, you can teach skill. You can't
100%.
really,
That's
teach
right.
character. It's just
Yeah.
there. It is
Yeah.
what it
Right.
is. So,
Totally.
And there's probably people in the community, in our communities,
Yeah.
that would do that, that
Yeah.
like to be in the RV parks and want to learn how to manage and that kind of stuff too.
yeah,
So,
pop on one of Pace's Zoom
Yeah,
for
dude.
10 minutes. You'll probably have
That's what I
yeah.
do. That's
hits.
what I do. Hey, babe, you're not supposed to be telling them. No, I'm just kidding. I do that all the time. Live Zooms. I'm like, hey, I'll buy anything Pace doesn't want. I did that a couple times,
See,
man.
Vicky.
Yeah.
Vicky wants to do that.
Is there anyone here in the room right now who wants to manage Aaron's park or our park? See right there, bro. But that is a good place to go. Go into those RV park Zooms, man, and get in there. In the RV park groups too. There's people who just lifelong RVers, or they're 4 or 5 years in the RVs, and they just love traveling. And I've had some of those people reach out to me, go, "Hey, I've lived in my RV for 4 years." A couple actually.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, we're actually planning on moving that way. I saw that your park is in East Tennessee, and we're in West Tennessee. We wanted to head that way." I'm like, "No kidding."
Brand
You
new
know.
farmers, see? Yeah,
So
everybody. And Lance and I are going to go like fully nomadic in probably a year is the plan. We'll do
yes.
it for a couple of years. We will
Sweet.
not be parking at one of our parks and managing it, but
Yeah,
living out of
nomads.
an RV,
Yes.
that's
Can't
definitely
wait.
something we've wanted to do. And our youngest turned
Love camping.
19 this summer. So,
Yeah, I think you got to have a heart for it a little bit. This asset class. I think it helps anyways. Anyone who likes to be outdoors and travel, I love it. We've always loved it.
Steve Goldstein.
Hopefully that was
Okay.
helpful, brother. And I'm open to you're one of the few people I would probably partner with. I don't people want to partner. I go, not really looking for partners really so much. We would do some JVs and stuff, and I would do that with you because I've known you for a while and I know you're serious. But for the most part, yeah, guys, not a good idea to just really to ask people if they want to partner with you because you're bringing them a lead.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that out of the way. Okay, a finder's fee, bird dog fee, yeah, maybe a slice of equity. If you find me direct to seller, a killer deal, yeah, I'd be open to it. But bringing
Cool.
leads
Thank you.
does not qualify. Sorry.
It's okay. Here, take care of
Yeah,
that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. We have to catch up, man, and get on a Zoom. I wanted to do that. I need to reach out to you.
Let's do it.
This will be the last question. I think,
Okay.
before we go
I
to-
have a
Last
question,
Yeah,
We
Lance.
have one more. What's that? Who's that?
This is Keisha. Hey.
Hi, Keisha. How are you? Devin, we'll get right to you, buddy.
I'm sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand.
It's okay.
I'm on my phone. But real quick question. I just wanted to ask. So do you all mainly when you're buying your parks, do you mainly go with brokers when you're finding those deals, or are you going direct to seller? And if you are going to direct to seller, how are you finding those direct to seller leads?
We're not going direct to seller, like hunting for direct to seller. We're having some sellers reach out to us because of the branding and marketing I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've had several reach out to me, see me in some of the RV Park Zooms or Facebook pages. So I'm joining the Facebook pages. I'm active in there. I'm constantly posting what we're looking for. And I've had several direct sellers reach out to me. So that's one way. The other way is finding out who's owned parks. You can pull records. How would you do that? And she does this and that, but you could find
Parks, like they're listed, they
Yeah,
need
you have it.
tenants, they're marketing. I would just
driving for
Insert-
dollars. Yep.
I live in Tyler, Texas. I would Google Tyler, Texas RV parks and call that
Tyler.
Tyler. It's happening. The
Ty-
metamorphosis is almost complete.
Uh-oh. No, but seriously, you go look for owners who have owned parks for 10 years or more. I've been,
Okay.
kind of directing people to do stuff like that. think about it, right? 10 years or more, they're probably like burnt out, ready to go, ready to move on. Driving for dollars, go meet owners. A lot of them are operating their own parks, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. I like bird dogs. If you guys want a bird dog for us, I've got my buy box. We can put. Can you put the buy box in here?
I can.
I'm so
I can.
so dumb when it comes to computers.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
Devin,
thank you.
thanks.
This is
Yeah,
Keisha. About we came and got honey from you all, me and my
yeah.
daughter.
Hi, Keisha. That's right. Hey, how are you?
Gosh, Keisha, I
I'm
love you
good.
so much. How is she?
Yeah,
She is doing great.
good.
Do you ever need a baby?
Oh my gosh, we almost kept her, so I'm thankful you came when you did.
I have to send y'all some pictures.
Yes.
But thank you.
She is adorable, isn't she? She's
She
so sweet.
is. She's so sweet. She is.
Awesome. Thank you, Keisha. Devin, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate the intel.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I dropped a couple notes in the chat, but for anybody that missed, I just wanted to offer myself
Yes.
as a resource to the community.
Yeah.
I've been nomadic for pretty much my entire adult life, so
Nice.
yeah, I can uproot in a moment's notice. So I've been wholesaling bird dogging for the last 12 months, looking at transition into acquisition, specifically
Nice, man.
RV. So
Okay.
yeah, like I said, just really looking to learn from folks that have done it a few times, maybe JV on some deals, wedge in if it makes sense.
Yep.
But happy to provide on-site support. I've been building businesses for about 20 years, so
Nice, man.
experienced operator, very strategic minded, process junkie. So
I
here to
love it,
make shit
dude.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get you into our mountain park resort. No, you
Is that
definitely
the
got the mountain
that's the one
man
in the
look.
Smokies?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I immediately I immediately reached
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, dude, I'd love to connect with you actually and have a conversation with you myself.
Yeah, let's do it. I dropped my blink earlier. I can throw it in again. Jessica, I believe, has it,
Okay.
has
Yeah,
my
if you could
info.
do that,
Yeah.
that way I can click
Perfect.
on it. I'm dealing with the chat from my phone, so I can't react to anybody's message. I'm having to DM. I can't drop a photo in, so I'm trying to look for our buy box right now, but I'm slightly uh slightly incapacitated working on the phone. So my
Yeah, I'd
apologies.
love to get that from y'all too.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jesse,
Yes.
I just popped it in there for you.
Oh, bless you, Travis. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
nice.
Like there's not even a button to share it. Thank you
Hey,
so
bro,
much.
nice job, dude. Oh, you can download it too.
This is the homie.
All right, Travis, we might have you come on to the next week's Zoom, buddy. Hey, brother,
Um,
Travis is my new Zoom partner. No, admin. You could be the admin, Travis.
Are we gonna?
Yeah, well, you want to, Devin? Thank you so much, brother. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that, man. I love the outdoors, love camping too. Man, it's definitely something that's near and dear to our heart. Love being outdoors in nature. I
yeah, no,
appreciate
I'm
the
into it, man. Yeah, I spend all day staring at screens, so if I'm gonna
yeah,
do that, I want to be in a natural setting doing it. So,
good point,
For
man.
love,
I
sure.
yeah, I'd love
feel
to make
that.
something happen. I dropped my blink there, so if y'all want to reach
Okay,
out, go for it.
great. Thanks,
Love to
man. I
chat.
appreciate that, bro.
I
Of
got
course,
it,
man.
and I sent yours back
All
Good deal.
right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
because we're at
Let's see.
8:24.
All right, that's okay.
I'm just trying to keep Lance on track.
Hey guys,
Dan, we're gonna
okay,
keep
I
you
know
on
we
for
still
2
got almost
hours.
50 people on here. Good job. Well, 48. Okay. You guys want to get back to the slide or should we continue on next week?
We're
I
almost
think we
done.
should go. Let's just get it done, right?
Yeah.
Let's finish this slide, guys. Good job. Good questions. All right, can you guys see the screen? Let's see. Let me
Yep.
move that.
Screen
Okay.
is live.
Amazing. Okay. Whoops. Uh-oh. What did I do? 8. Okay. The revenue levers, pull these in order. Watch NOI climb, right? Increasing the NOI is the big play here. That is what your goal should be, your target should be to exit at some point, right? If you want to hold a park or two, great. But I want to at least refinance, right? My end goal is to refinance out private money, partners if needed, and right, own the park myself and pull money out of the park, right? That should be your ultimate goal here, and that's what we want to do, and that's the play. So NOI, net on income, right? Your net operating expense, I'm sorry, not net operating income. Pretty close. Number one, rents to market. She's smiling. She's like, you. Rents to market, right? Most parks are $50 to $150 below market rent. Okay. These owners have been there. That's why I'm saying 10-year plus owners are a good target to go after. They haven't been increasing rents. They're living comfortably. They're okay with the lower rents, and that's fine. And those are the parks that we like to target, right? Raise rents first. It's immediate compounding NOI with zero capital. Okay, that's the number one easiest way to increase your NOI. Yes, so fill vacant pads. Okay. Craigslist, Zillow, Google Business referrals. Every empty pad is income walking out the gate, right? Evict and replace, right? So we're just recapping here. Non-paying tenants are poison. Let's get them out quick, okay? Act quickly. Good tenants follow good standards. Number 4, utility and septic billing. Implement RUBS, maintenance, billing where applicable. Pass costs back to tenants if it makes sense professionally and legally, right? We don't want to gouge people.
Yep.
We want to get people coming back over and over and over. You want to slowly implement these things, not right out the gate. You're going to end up with an empty park if you do that. Late fees and lease terms, right? We are building a culture. So written leases, very important. And signed leases. Okay, you've got to get the leases signed. We had a manager that was not getting the leases signed.
And get copies
yeah,
of their ID,
good Lord.
background check, Social Security. You
Yeah.
can't evict without that stuff.
Yeah, transform tenant culture within 60 to 90 days, right? We're basically kind of training them to get back on track if they haven't been, right? If they've been paying late, we want to get them back on track or get them out of the park and get better tenants in there. So add-on income, storage, laundry, ADUs, tiny homes, boat slips, extra vehicle fees, extra streams of income compound your NOI at exit. Golf carts, right? That's one of the cool things that Michelle and Patrick like to do that I'm going to definitely do on this Tennessee park, right? Put like a handful of golf carts in there. They lease them for like $200 a month. They make about $1,000 a pop on those. They lease them for like $50 a day or something crazy like that. I was like, wow, just that one thing, right? Ice machines is a big one in hot states, hot areas, or any area really that you're camping. Who packs their ice chest full of ice, right? You need ice for the drinks, the booze, the sodas, right? Vending machines is another one. Real Texas Park, seller finance, real numbers. This is our park here that we own in Midland, Texas. Total NOI increased by 40%, guys, in 14 months. Okay. 90 days, 30% NOI increase achieved. Let's see. Oh, someone's coming in really late here. Wrong time zone. That happens all the time. 15 months. Or am I doing this right, honey?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 15 months, full turnaround timeline. So I thought it was 14, but I think it took a couple months to close. We'd already had the deal.
Just the numbers.
We had the deal done in 12 months. No, we had the deal done, but it took like 2 or 3 months to get it all the way to the closing. $150,000 for each partner. So we brought in this Midland Park. We brought in a partner, I think $225,000 she brought to the table.
Yep.
We brought her in as a capital partner. So we went in 50-50. Okay. And she actually was a huge asset to us.
Yeah.
She helped operate the park. She was really good with numbers, better operator than we were.
Absolutely.
She had management experience, which was amazing, right? So she ended up stepping into that role, and we ended up splitting. We split that $300,000 at the 14 months. So we brought these partners in, and they bought 70% of our equity, okay, out because we increased the NOI. We had a really solid pro forma that we built out. And so we enticed these bigger lenders, bigger investors to come in. We had also 2 to 3 additional acres to build out, right? So they wanted to bring in new homes. I actually ended up talking to them about box homes and hooked them up with boxable. So we've got our first 5 boxable homes on the property right now, and we're going to bring in probably 20 more on those other 2 acres. So that's a huge increase on the NOI, right? Short-term rentals for refinery workers in Midland, Texas. Who here's watched Landman? Anyone watch Landman? Okay. Midland, Texas, oil field country. Okay. So 150,000 guys. Who would love to make $150,000 extra this year? Come on now. Okay. I get excited talking about this. We had 60% occupancy. Rents were 50 to $75 below market, right? There was no systems or management in place. And then reactive maintenance only. So what does that mean? Sorry, hon. What is that?
Oh, you only do something when there's an issue.
Reactive maintenance. Okay.
Yep.
So afterwards, we increased the occupancy to 78%. Rents were raised $50 to $100. On-site management was in place. It wasn't the best, but there was an on-site management in place. And scheduled maintenance and billing was put into place, right? So we made it easier for someone to make an informed decision. That's really what you want to do. You want to make it easy to get a refinance, right? The bank is going to want to see all this stuff when you go to refinance it in 18 to 24 to 36 months. So by month 15, each partner cashed out 150,000, and we still own collectively with our partner 30% of the asset. How cool is that? So we get to share in all the upside and very little of the downside now that they're 70% owners and operators.
Yep.
Yes.
And this is just going back over everything else. You know,
Yeah.
if anybody wants me to share this slide, it took me, a couple hours to put together.
Yeah.
This is kind of our path, how we would recommend other people to, to look at parks with things that we've done since the beginning, with things that we've learned along the way. But we were able to force, a amount of equity, significant amount of equity in a very short period of time, just by increasing the NOI. We didn't have to do a ton of repairs. We did do about 30K in repairs for stuff that was failing, but we didn't have to go in and put, $100,000 to get $100,000 in equity.
Yeah.
We, managed it well and aggressively. And we actually increased the equity by almost $500,000. What happened was, when we cashed out that $500,000,
Yes.
our PML, who was our partner, actually got her initial capital back that we hadn't paid down because she was getting monthly disbursements. And then we both split the remainder of the equity. So, the park we bought at 1.49, it was easily worth $2 million with the NOI that we had, aggressively worked on for those, 12 months, like Lance said. And then it took about 3 months of negotiations figuring out how to sell the equity. And we still own part of it, and we're still active in the park. Lance actually just is working on selling 3 RVs today. So
yeah,
it was a
that's
great
right.
play.
I'm a used car salesman now today. No,
the equity's a little bit different, but I just want to go over one thing that we hadn't gone over with the group yet. One of the best things about a large asset like this is, refinancing, every handful of years as you can. When you refinance and you can pull cash out of an asset, it is non-taxable. It is non-taxable because it's debt. We have a friend who has, single-handedly acquired $50 million in assets under management up in Oregon. He, taught us a lot about RV parks even before we joined Pace's community. And he refinances a couple of properties a year. He makes $1 million passively on his investments, and then he refinances a few extra properties a year, debt, tax-free. So that's a huge play. Pace does talk about it as well. It's something that we, are working towards. But just wanted to let you guys have that little nugget.
Yeah. So how can we share the slides with the? I know we're going to get the Zoom. We'll get this recording out for anyone who wants to watch it again. If you missed anything, or you whatever, just want to kind of have it, we can get it out. I guess I don't know what's the best way to do that. I guess we can go to look at the registrants. We have automations experts. Thank God, I forgot. I always forget.
Expert.
We have a team. That's right. Okay, we have a team. All right, so we'll get our team to send the slides out and the recordings to anybody who registered for this event. I believe we can do that. Yep, we can do that. So it'll be via email. Let's see. I think that's it.
To you, Devin.
Hang on, guys.
There's one more slide.
All right, guys. So manage, pull levers, harvest, right? Who wants to harvest their crop? Refi, sell equity, cash out, hold your stake, rinse and repeat. You can sell or you can rinse. You can go, I want to go up into bigger parks and sell out, but I want to hold assets like Pace, right? We want to hold assets long term to build a legacy for our kids and their kids, okay? What's that?
Oh, Devin said I can add the link to
the slide to the chat.
The slide. He said to the calendar.
Devin.
So Devin, I would have to Google how to do that, but I appreciate the info.
Is there a way to do that? Okay, sorry guys. All right, Kathleen. Hey, what's going on? We'll take one more question real quick here, and before we wrap this up.
Thank you for taking my question to both of you. And my question has to do with, like, when you refinance, because I can't seem to get a straight answer from anyone really. When you refinance a property like that, are you refinancing it for the full value of the property, or how are you refinancing that?
Well, you're going to get a refinance based on you're going to get a loan to value, right? Refinance. So I
Okay.
think with commercial properties, it's going to be up to 70%,
65. Yeah.
65%,
Yeah.
maybe 70 at the most. So
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be based on that and the yeah, that's it, right? So
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
That's
anytime you refinance, you have a new lender coming in for senior position. They're always going to want to go off what is based on right now, which is
mhm.
why, maybe you can't refinance for 8 years. Maybe you can refinance in 2. They're always going to go off of what the current value is, which on mobile home parks is typically the NOI. And then you want to make sure that have sufficient equity, or that you've forced sufficient value. So these loans, when you get into 2 and 3 million, they're easily going to cost you 60 to 100 grand between lender fees and appraisals and everything else. So you need to be heavier on the
Yeah, equity.
to make it make sense, right? You want to
Yeah.
have 3, 4, 500,000. I would probably not do it if
Mhm.
I was under 500,000, because
Yeah,
you're
no.
going to have to, and actually probably more than that if you're only getting a refi at 65, 70%. So
Yeah.
So
Well,
then
yeah.
are you now, I'm sorry, I just have to ask the questions. So are you now like looking at the property as, okay, you have the equity part of it, but you still have to come up with the other part. Is that part
well
because
a
of the
ref
equity that's kind of your down payment, or how is that working?
No, so a refinance is different than a purchase. You only have to bring the delta on a purchase. When you're doing a refinance, as long as you have that extra equity there, the bank isn't going to make you're not
Okay.
buying it. So,
But they
Okay.
do
So
charge
that,
you to
yeah.
refinance. It's
Yes,
ridiculous. It's
they
really kind of dumb.
yeah,
yeah.
They
yeah.
charge you to pull
I,
your equity out, basically,
I,
essentially.
I get I get that as far as that goes, but I was missing
Okay.
that part that
Yeah.
you guys said, because
Well,
they always talk
yeah.
about, well, you can refinance. Oh, okay, are we doing the whole thing, or are we just with the part of the thing? What are we doing?
Well, and it
So
just depends, right? A lot of people don't want to pull cash out, and sometimes you're going to refinance just like you would your home for a better rate,
Yep.
Maybe not pull any of the equity out. Maybe you just want a better rate. So there's
That's a
a
great
couple
point.
different
Mhm.
types of refinances that
That's a
you can
great
do.
point.
Yeah.
And maybe you're just refining out a partner.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, pay off the debt, right? Pay off debt, leave the equity in. So
yeah,
there's all kinds of different ways you can do it.
Mhm.
Let's see.
yeah.
Here we go, guys. This is not a side hustle. Thank you, Kathleen.
You're
Sorry, I
welcome.
didn't mean to cut you
Thank
off.
you.
Thank you so much. You're awesome. Kathleen's a couple hours away. She comes to our meetups when she can. RV parks are a serious asset class that demands serious ownership. Okay. The rewards are real, but so is the work, the risk, and the responsibility. Done right, this is not just income. It is infrastructure for your family's future. Every pad you stabilize is a family housed. Every dollar of NOI is freedom compounding. Okay, guys? Build it with intention, operate with discipline, pass it on with purpose. This blueprint is the beginning. Legacy is the goal. Okay. So guys, I appreciate everyone coming. If you want to do deals with us, if you're interested, reach out to me on Messenger. I'm available all the time, like Travis said. Thank you, Travis, for helping out in the comments. I didn't get a chance to really look at any of the comments, basically the whole time. But guys, if you want a bird dog for us, partner with us. You got our buy box in there. You can reach out to me directly on Messenger. If you have my number, you can reach out to me that way as well. I don't want to give my number out to tons and tons of people. So if you're serious, reach out to me on Messenger. Okay, Lance Riggen, easy. My number my CRM number is right here too. Yes, you can shoot me that on my Texas number right here down here on the screen. But we are looking for partners and always looking for partners, guys, bird dogs. And also, real quick, wanted to throw a plug out there for some one on one coaching that I'm doing. The only thing besides RV parks is doing some one on one coaching. If anybody here is interested in getting coaching one on one to learn how to structure, negotiate, close deals, source leads, it's a 1 hour, 8 week course, 1 hour a week. And then I'm going to do a group Zoom every probably once a week as well. I'm looking for maybe 8 people. Okay. It's not a big group. I just finished one and it went really well. And I think I want to continue to do it. So if anyone's interested in that, please reach out to me. I'll set up a Zoom to see if it's a good fit. We'll go over everything in detail. And I'm only looking for a handful of people who are coachable and ready to take action and committed. So I'm dead serious about that. I will not take you on if you are not serious and ready to really move. Okay, because I want everyone to win that I work with. So going to teach you everything I know in that time frame that I can. Okay, guys. So reach out if you want that link to get on a Zoom with me as well. Other than that, I appreciate everybody, and yeah, I think we're gonna stop sharing now.
Yep.
You guys have an awesome night. We'll be back next week
Everybody.
for some more value add. Everybody have a good night. I appreciate you. God bless.